Hi, welcome to JUnit tutorial for beginners with Eclipse IDE. With me, Nam Haming from CodeJava.net. In this video tutorial, you will learn how to get started with JUnit testing framework for Java development. You will learn the fundamentals of JUnit, such as assertions, annotations, how to create a test class, how to write test methods, and how to run test methods, run test class in Eclipse IDE. By the end of this video tutorial, you will understand how the unit works and be able to write the unit test cases for the Java project. You know, JUnit is one of the most popular unit testing frameworks for Java development. JUnit is a favorite choice of Java programmers to test their projects. All IDEs and build tools support JUnit, including Eclipse, NetBeans, IntelliJ. That means you can get started with JUnit immediately with your favorite IDE. In this video tutorial, I will share with you how to use JUnit with Eclipse IDE. And Eclipse supports all latest versions of JUnit framework, JUnit 3, JUnit 4, and JUnit 5. So, how does unit testing work? Here's an example that helps you understand. On the right is a normal class, business class. You see this class calculator. This class is called the class under test, and this class has a method add. You see, and to test this class, we create a test class. You see on the right here, the calculator test. You see, called the test class. In this class, we write one or more test methods, and you can see there's a test method here. This is the test add method. This method is annotated with the add test annotation. And inside this test method, we create an instance of the class under test. You see, and call its method. And finally, in the test method, we call an assert method. Here, the assert equals method to verify if the code produces the result as expected or not. The assert equal method compares two values, whether they are equal or not. If the two values are equal, the code under test, the class under test passes the test case. If not, an exception is thrown. Java.lang.assert exception is thrown to indicate that the code fails the test case, and the job of programmer is to fix the problems, fix the code until it passes all the test cases. You see, and in this test class, we can have we can write more test methods to test more test cases. So that is basically how unit testing works in Java. We create a test class with test methods to test the methods of the class under test, and we use the assert method to assert the code, assert the result. You see, JUnit provides some annotations to specify what a test method does in the test class, and here are some basic annotation in the unit. Add before class, add before all. The annotation on the left is in the unit 4 and the one on the right is in the unit 5. You know, the unit 4 and the unit 5 has some differences in annotations. Add before each, add test. You see in the previous example, add test is to specify a method is a test method. Add after each, add after class, add after all, add ignore, add disable, add repeated test, add parameterized test, add tag, and we will learn some of this annotation right now. This is a typical structure of a test class. You see the test methods are marked with the add and the add test annotation. You see we have two test methods here. Those methods are marked with the add test annotations. And the method is marked with the add before class annotation has special meaning. The code in this method, this kind of method, is executed before all test methods in the test class. The code in this method executed only once. So we put a code to prepare test environment here in this method. For example, to create a database connection in this kind of method. And note that this method must be static. You see. And in contrast to the add before class method, we have add after class method. This kind of method is executed after all test methods in the test class, and it is executed only once. So we can put code that cleans up test environment in this method, such as closing database connections. And the method annotated with the add before annotation is executed before each test method in the test class. So we can put code that needs to be executed repeatedly before each test method in this car method, the method that is marked with the add before annotation. And in contrast with the add before method, we have add after method. Code in this method is executed after each test method. So we can put code that needs to be executed repeatedly after each test method in this car method. The method annotated with the add after annotation. So that's a typical structure of a test class in JUnit. We have test methods, and we have methods that executed after all methods, before all test methods, after all test method, before each test method, and after each test method. So you see, we have annotation add before class here is in the unit 4, and in the unit 5 it becomes add before all, but I don't show the annotation of the unit 5 here. Okay, and the unit provides some assert methods to assert the result of the code under test. The fail method let the test method fails immediately. So we can use this fail method to let the test method fails, typically to indicate that the method has not been implemented. And the assert equals method, this method asserts two values. The values can be Java primitive types or object types. And assert not equals method, there's a reverse as the assert equals method. It asserts if two values are not equal. And the assert true method asserts the condition is true. The assert false method asserts that a condition is false, and the assert no method asserts that an object is null, and the assert not null method asserts that an object is not null, and the assert same method asserts that two objects refer to the same object, refer to the same reference. And the assert not same method asserts that two objects refer to different references. So these are frequently used assert methods in JUnit. Let's see how to use this assert methods in Eclipse IDE. Okay, this is my Eclipse IDE. This is a very basic Java project. Now let's create a JUnit class, a normal class, calculator, and write a method, JUnit method here, and A, B, let me make the text bigger. Editor, text editor, text editor, colors and fonts. Java editor text font, edit 14. Okay, so you can see better now, right? A, B, okay, you see, sorry, this add method simply adds two numbers A and B. Okay, and now in Eclipse to create a test method for this class, right click on this class and select new, other, or you can see there's a JUnit test case here, new JUnit test case. Okay, so in this dialog you can choose the version of JUnit. You see JUnit 3, JUnit 4 and JUnit 5. JUnit 5 is also called JUnit Jupyter. Okay. And here I choose JUnit 4, and typically we should put our test class in a separate folder than the source folder. So I need to create a separate folder for our test classes. New source folder, name it test. Okay, finish. Okay, now right click on this class, new JUnit test case, and choose the version of JUnit is JUnit 4, and choose the source folder is a test folder. To separate the test classes with the business classes, and the package is the same as the package in the source class. You can see the name of the test class is calculator test. So the convention here is the test class is a class under test followed by the test. Okay, and you can check this option to create code for the add before O, add after O, add after methods in the test class. And this is the class under test is a calculator class. Click next. And here you can choose which methods in the class under test to be tested. Yeah, I check the add method and click finish. JUnit asks to add the JUnit for library to the build path. Okay. You see, so we have the test class calculator test created here with the test method test add, and you see the fail method to indicate that this method has not yet been implemented. Okay. Right now you can run this test class. Right click and click run as JUnit test. You see the unit view appears. Okay, I can move the unit view to the bottom. The unit. Okay, you see. In this view, you can see the red bar appears here, indicating that the test has failed. You see the test method fails with the exception java.lang.assert error, not yet implemented because of the fail method here. You see. Now let's write code for this test method. Create an instance of the class under test is a calculator class. Calculator. calculator, new calculator. Okay, two number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, and our expected result is, for example, the sum of these two numbers is 2, 1, 9, and 6. Okay, and the actual value is the result of executing the add method on the calculator class. You see. Now we use an assert method to assert that these two values are equal. Assert equals expected and actual. See. You can see Eclipse automatically add a static import for the assert class, so we can use a assert equals static method here. Okay, now let's run this test method again. You can right click on the method in the JUnit view and click run. And now you see a green bar appears here, indicating that the test passes. The code passes the test case. See. Now let's modify the code so the test will fail. Okay. We add a small change here. Now run the test method again. You can right click here, run, or you can right click on the method in the outline view and select run as the unit test. Okay, run. It fails now. As such an error expected 6912, but was 6913. So when the test fails, we need to find the bug and fix the bug until the test passes. Now run the test again. You see the code passes the test now. So that's basically how to write test class and test method in with JUnit in Eclipse IDE. Now let's write another method in the business class, the calculator class. Yeah, now we have subtract. Okay, A, B. Okay, return A minus B. Okay, and now in the test class we write another test method to test the test subject class in the calculator class. Use a test annotation, test subject. A naming convention you should know with JUnit is that the test method should start with the test and followed by the method name. The method name, the name of the method being tested. You see. create a new calculator object. New 500 and B 300. Okay, and now we can use another assert. For example, you see there's many assert methods here. Choose which depending on your need. So we now let's use assert choose. Assert choose. Okay. The condition is that expected the actual value is result from the code being tested, subject A and B. Okay, and we expect that the actual value equal to 200, right? Okay, that's how to use assert choose method. That assert condition is true. Okay. Now to run this test method, right click on its name in the outline view and select run as the unit test. You see the code passes the test. You can run all test methods in a test class by right click on the test class here and select run as the unit test, and in this case all test methods are executed. You see two test methods, test add and test subtract, has been executed, and the code passes all the test cases. You see, to run an individual test method, you can right click and select run again, run. You see. Now you can see there's some duplicate code here. In the toTest method, we create a new instance of a calculator object. You see, this is a repeated task, so we can move this code to the add before class method. Okay. Okay, let's move this unit view here. Okay. So create a before class method here. Typically, this method is named setup before class. Okay. And we need to create only one instance of the calculator, and in each test method we use the same calculator instance. So we need to declare a calculator instance at the instance of the class here. It should be static because the add before class must be static. See. And now in this setup before class method, we create an instance of the calculator object. See, you can in the test method we can remove the duplicate code. You see, That's the idea of how to use the add before class method to uh, prepare the test environment, to initialize some resources. And note that this method is executed only once, so the calculator instance here is shared by all the test methods in the test class, so we won't have a duplicate code. You see. Now run the test class again. Run as JUnit test. We have initialization error. So what happened? Static void calculator, new calculator. Let's run test add. It passes the subject. It passes. Run the test class again. It all passes. Okay, so that would be an Eclipse error. See, now all the test method has been executed successfully. Okay. Similarly, now we can write the method that executed only once after all test methods in the test class, and this method is annotated with the add after class annotation, and this method is typically named as tear down class. In this method, we clean up test environment or dispose resources. For example, we can dispose the object of the calculator class. This is just for example. In practice, we don't need to write this. Okay, just to let you know the idea of using the add after class. Okay, and now run the test class again. It should be fine. Okay, run. See, all passes. Now suppose that we have a method in the calculator class that needs to be called before each exist method. So for example, public void MC memory clear. You see, memory clear MC in the calculator. You see, just print out clear memory, clear calculator memory. Okay, and before each test method, we need to call that method memory clear, so we can put that code in the add before method. See, this method is typically named as setup. Okay, we see an instant method. In this method we call memory clear. Okay, you see, clear the calculate the memory before perform a calculation. You see. Now let's mm, run the whole class test and that the unit test. And you see in the console view, the message clear calculate the memory appears 2 times. That means uh, it is executed. The setup method is executed before each test because we have 2 test methods here. Now let's run only one test method. For example, test add, and you see it appears only 1 time. You see. And now let's write another method in the calculator class to reset the calculator. This method should be called after each calculate the method here. Okay, this is out. Okay. Now in this test class we write as a method after. Okay, after annotation. This method is executed after each test method, and it is typically named as tear down. Tear down, and in this method we call calculator reset. Okay, that gives you the idea of how to use the add after method. What is the error? Okay, it compiles fine now. Okay, now let's run the test add method again. And now you see the two messages clear calculator memory, calculator reset. This executed before the test method, and this executed after the test method to make it more clear. Make it clearer to add a print message in the test method. Okay. Test add. Okay. And in the test subject method, test subject. Okay. And run the test add again. Now you see before the test add method is executed, the code in the before class method is executed. You see, clear memory, and after the test method, the code in the after method is executed. You see, you can give a reset. Now let's run the whole test class again, the unit test, and now you see for each test method, test s and test subject, the before and after class is executed. You see, so that gives you the idea of how to use add before class, add before, add after, and add after class methods to initialize, to prepare setup test environment, and to disperse resources, to clean up test environment. You see. Now let's create a test class with the unit 5. Right click here, new, the unit test case, and here choose the unit Jupyter. The source folder is a test folder, and the name is calculate test2. Okay, and check this option to create the setup before class, data after class, setup data methods. Click next. Choose the add and subtract method to be tested. Click finish and add the unit file to the build path. Okay. Okay, now you see Eclipse generated code for the new test class with the unit 5. You can see with the unit 5, the default access modifier of the test class is default package. Also, the access modifier for the methods in the test class is default package. You see, and you see the unit 5 use different annotation add before all, and the unit 4 is add before class. So I think the change in annotation names of the unit 5 reflects better the meaning of the method. You see, after all, before each, after each, and this is the test method. Now let's run this class, run as the unit test. You see, of course it fails. The test subject method fails. See, we got the fail method here. In the unit view, you can copy the exceptions suggest by right click and copy failure list. See, copy failure list. Now, it's the exercise to implement code for this calculator test to class. Similarly to the calculator test class with the unit 4, the code is the same. That's the annotation are different. Okay. So that you have learned how to use the unit testing framework with Eclipse IDE. Thank you for watching, and see you again in the next video.